welcome to Essay Writers tutorial series. In this tutorial we are going to look at text tools. So what we've done is we've opened up a recent map that we were working on and started our split screen view with the text on the right there, and we've clicked on the text option at the top. So as you can see, when we've clicked on the text tab here, it's given us our banner with all of our text tools and options that we can work with. From left to right, we've got our clipboard options here. So that's your cut, copy, paste, delete. Obviously you can use your keyboard shortcuts if you prefer, such as your Control and C for copy, Control and V for paste. If you're unfamiliar with those or you don't like to use those, you can use our clipboard options here. Similarly, we've got our font options, so it is defaulted at Arial font size 12. You can change this to a point that suits you and a text font that suits you. So we may have, let me think, just a standard, maybe eccentric Gothic's a little bit better for you rather than an Arial, and you can change that point size as well to be larger and smaller depending on the text size you prefer. Some people prefer to work in a slightly larger font because it's less strain on their eyes, especially those who may have Arlen syndrome, for example. Larger text is better, but it doesn't necessarily mean that everything needs to be enlarged. So this is a good tool where you can just select the points that you want to enlarge and enlarge them that way. You don't have to use this drop down option. You've got a plus and a minus option here, so you can just plus your text and minus your text until it's at a font size that works for you and whatever's more comfortable. We have our bold, italic, underline options as well, so they're simply just a click on and click off. We've got a Subscript option as well here, so this is really useful for a simple click if you are maybe doing a formula, for example. Some courses require formula writing, so if you're doing something squared, your Subscript comes in really handy for that because it's just a simple click and it's there. Same with the Subscript. You may have certain footnotes, you may have certain comments that you like to add which need to be a subscript. It's just a click on and a click off. Obviously everything that you click in this section here refers to what is highlighted. As you can see, none of the other text is changing, so it's whatever is highlighted is what it's going to apply to. You can change your font color as well. So this may be if you don't like working on a black text white background, if it's quite visually stressful to work on a black text on a white background, you can change the colour of your font. When we did our webinar, we looked at the change in the map background as well. That is also applicable on the text options, so you can change the backgrounds in exactly the same way if you prefer. You can also use colour font options as a way of being very visual and seeing whereabouts you are in your essay, what it is that needs reviewing, for example. So say I've highlighted this sentence in red because this sentence is something that I need to just double check. I may need to go back online and just check my resources correct, check the dates, or I may just not be fully content with that particular sentence. I might want to reword it. So I can just highlight that as a visual way of keeping it separate from the rest of my work, which I'm happy with. That's just an example on how you can use your font colours. It can just be a preference. So we have paragraph tools here as well, so it is defaulted to align left. You can align it all straight, so it all becomes one block of text. However, again, thinking of your visual elements, if you work better in a more visual way and you struggle for certain paragraphs and you struggle with text being a little bit more blocky, if you've got Arlen syndrome, for example, you may find that the text blurs, becomes into one big block, rivers might run down the page when you're trying to read, etc. This is why the text aligned to the left is really useful, because you can see that there's a breaker and there's a difference between the line that you're reading on. You can centre it if you wish as well for a little bit more clarity on whereabouts you are in that line. It's just a case of clicking through. If we've got longer paragraphs, you can have them in the centre of the paragraph if you wish. It may not let me because I've got one line here. Let's try this one. There we go. So you can use bullet points there as well. So if you prefer to bullet point rather than writing text, if you're just, jotting ideas down under a particular area, you can have research idea here, for example. You can cut and copy a lot of references. So the above one here is a pasted reference from an online resource, which again is shown in our referencing tutorial. But you can add as many of those here, and then after you're finished, you can turn your bullet points off, and then you can get started in your writing. So again, it's just different ways that you can utilize the usual paragraph tools and text tools. We do have our highlight and structure option. So this is really useful to know how you are structuring your sentences if you've got a beginning, a middle and an end, for example. So we can visually see here when we've clicked our highlight option, it's highlighted our first paragraph here. We don't have an ending to that, so we would have to look at adding more text here for a conclusion, for example. So you can see how as we've added a little bit more information, we've concluded that paragraph. It's now given us our beginning, which is the pinky colour, our middle, which is the yellow colour, and our end, which is the green. So we can visually see that down here, this paragraph structure was spot on straight away. We didn't have to make any changes. We had a beginning, a middle and an end. However, up here, when we clicked our highlight tool on, we realised that there wasn't actually a conclusion. So we knew there was a little bit more work we needed to do within that paragraph. So this is where our structure highlight tool is really useful to develop your own writing skills. We can see how we've got a sentence there. It's one sentence, that's not a paragraph. So it's the start of a paragraph, but if we add more information, you can see how it develops our paragraph, as it were. So we've got our first sentence, our middle sentence and our last sentence, for example. But as you can see, as you start writing, the more text you get into that paragraph, the more this highlighting structure will work to your advantage, because you'll be able to physically see what you need to do with that paragraph. Again, that's just a click on and click off so you can see where you're at. Some people like to keep this on so they know exactly where they are with their structure. Others like to just turn it off, write what they need to, turn it on to check whereabouts they are with their paragraphs. We've got the standard spell check as well, so we can look at slightly misspelled words, and it'll give us our replacements. Obviously this is dependent on the dictionary that you have selected in your options, which is in our settings and options tutorial, so just bear that in mind when you are running your spell check. Underline just shows you anything that it's unsure of, anything that you think is misspelled. It will just underline those for you there. So if we just take those apart there, it ruins that underline there. Phrases. We do have phrase banks. So again, in our settings and our options video, we'll show you how to turn these on. If you're unsure of how to start a particular area, you can click through. This is what I'm wanting, I need to be more critical. That was the feedback I've got. I need to introduce a problem. How do I go about that? How do I do that? You just click through that. You can make this section larger as well. And get my mouse on that area there. I did have it. There we go. So you can make these sections larger and smaller depending on how you want to work. If you want to focus on more of the text, you can just drag that over, or you can go on your view options and just have text only, and then you've just got your text and your phrase bank. So if you are unsure, you can just pull across any of the phrases that you think that's going to help me. That's where I need to be going with this argument. That's where I need to be going with my point. It can just get you started. Same with reporting results and discussing findings. If you're unsure about how you can highlight certain things, so see we've got all the way down to the end of our essay, and we just need to say, we found that this information, this diagram shows, etc. It can just give you a bit of a better way of introducing certain things, and it can steer you down a bit of a more structured path. So that is your phrases. References we're not going to go over in this video because we do have a reference and only video which you can look at, which is also uploaded onto our YouTube channel and website. So for our text tools, that is everything. We do have a narration option as well. I click back onto my text. So we do have a narration option there as well.
Diet. Eat at least 5 portions of a variety of fruit and vegetables a day. They're a good source of fiber, vitamins, and minerals. There are lots of tasty ways to get your 5 a day.
You click it on, it will read through the text. You click it off, it will stop. Again, there's we hit on to the narration options in the options and settings tutorial as well, which shows you how you can change the tone and the speed in the highlighting options as well. So if the blue highlights don't work, that can be changed. But it is just a generic automated voice that will just read through that text for you. Again, it just helps you more with punctuation and grammar using narration tools. So if you find that the narrator sounds quite constant and there's not really many pauses there, then you know that you need to look back over that paragraph and you need to maybe include a few commas, full stops, colons, etc. So it's just a useful tool for that, as well as taking your eyes away from having to read from the screen. I hope you have enjoyed the text tools tutorial. It's very simple to follow. So long as you're clicked in your text area, you've got all of your text options naturally just jump up to you. There's more tutorials on our YouTube page and our website. Please feel free to check them out. If you do have any questions at all, you can contact us through our website and we will be able to answer those questions as soon as we can.